Friends, welcome to some Loey the Legends and welcome to a map where it is very dangerous to be up against the Celts. And for our red player here, red just so happens to be up against the Celts. Red is playing as the Slavs, very strong civilization, the Slavs, but you'll notice that these players are going to probably need to advance forward to this very large hill. The map is mega random, so you never really know what you're going to get. Here they are pretty far apart. And we'll probably be fighting over the wood control here. Red is Fleming. And then in the blue, we have Chasmala. Chasmala is playing as the Celts. Now, kind of wild scenario that I remember. I did upload it to my channel, but I don't remember the title at this point. I once had a mega random game against Huang, okay? We went random civ, and he randomed into Celts. And I got a civilization that couldn't... I was Ethiopians, that's what it was. A civ that didn't have redemption. And that's like a really big thing up against the Huang pushes. And so he built a siege workshop. Actually, in the generation we had, it was open through the middle. So he walked right across. And he ate my TC. So yeah, it was a really, really fond memory of mine. The Celts are very dangerous with that siege, but... You do have to cross this massive wood line in the middle, and that's going to make it really tough to attack. So I think especially that, combined with the elos here, makes me think that it's going to be a bit difficult for a lot of aggression to happen here. It looks like there's a lot of goats and sheep. Red has actually started off here by trying to take as much food as possible by dropping the early mill. There's also plenty of zebra, but I'm not seeing any boars or elephants. So, mega random, forcing these guys to adapt a little bit. And blue, same start actually. They both went for the mill right away. Interesting. But I think they might have gone for the mill right away because they both felt like there wasn't an area to really take trees. Like, maybe we should switch it to small trees just because these guys are a bit higher rank. But just to show you, like, if you're looking at it from the small trees perspective, you're just thinking, okay, this is not worth lumber camping. And so because they didn't find the massive chunk of wood in the middle, they're probably just thinking maybe they should just delay that until they find some. Right now, they're cursing mega random. Right now, they're like, man, what is this stupid map? Oh. Okay, I see. So, you know, town centers up here, castles, whatever else could be really important later on. You know what I'd like to see? It's unfortunate that neither civ gets bomber cannon. But, okay, hear me out, all right? You go fast imp onager if you're blue. You onage through the trees. And you just clear out all the wood except for the last couple tiles. And you just camp behind the wood lines with siege. Your opponent runs out of wood because they can't have wood. They can't make buildings. They can't make farms. And they look at the onagers behind those trees and they quit. Yes, of course, onage is a verb. Look it up. You guys don't know what onaging is? Onage. When someone onages. With onager. Yes. What is to onage? Well, let me explain. Come on. I mean, everyone knows what an onage is. If you don't know what an onage is, you're just not paying attention. Oh, wow. Okay. This is cute. Look at this. So Red's like, okay, so I'm realizing that this whole wood situation is rather important. My villagers will be very far from home. And I'm finding it very difficult to find villagers that are willing to work under such conditions. And so Red is going to run underneath his opponent's town center, but is also going to build a little gate here and keep the villagers safe. Not bad. Also, it might be very difficult for blue to find that. We'll see if red actually ends up building that stuff. So, I always say that 700 elos are really good with their fast feudals. Like, they have good times, normally around 20 or 21 bills. But I do notice that from there, they don't necessarily have the perfect timings on when they make their military buildings or if they make their military buildings at all. I think blue's about to click up. Blue did make a lumber camp at the bottom of the hill. And the acacia trees They do have 150 wood per tree, so it's still worth it to build a lumber camp here. Blue is going to click up. Blue has forgotten to click up. Blue is now clicked up. And red is... Well, I thought red was going to go feudal age here, but red's still taking a little bit more time. But right now, there's just one villager. And, oh, is he going to try and chop through the opening as well? He definitely noticed there's a line of trees there and is going to try and chop. He would actually need to take this tree to be able to get through. But, I mean, still the fact that I believe he clicked that tree intentionally is pretty interesting. I don't know if that's good for him to open that up, but maybe he would add more walls. All right. It is now a mad dash for wood over here at Chesmala's base. So Chesmala is on the way. Has the barracks already. Chesmala has not scouted the enemy yet. But Mega Random, if you play the game a decent amount, you will encounter these generations more than once. Maybe blue knows. But red seems to understand the wood situation is important. And now finds the opponent's wood line, which is a pretty big deal. So if red's planning on going aggressive here, I could see that being the spot to hit. And more villagers showing up to the lumber camp now. So they can chop wood safely. That's a big thing for red because red has been walking around a lot. You don't want that for too long. I think that's actually why, like if you look at the worker efficiency bottom left, overall worker efficiency for blue is at 79% and it's 74% for red, just because red was walking around to the stragglers. Actually walking around lots and get the zebras too. So red's worker efficiency will probably get a little bit better now over time. Wow, first thing blue does here, guys, drop a tower. Really worried about these villagers. And still hasn't scouted the enemy, so it's probably just the safe play. This is auto scout. T90 autos in chat, please. Because blue is not looking at this at all. That's fine. You know, if you can't manage it, might as well have it on auto scout. Like, ideal world, you manage the scout yourself. No way he spots that. No way. No way. No way. What is that? Auto scout wouldn't do that. Auto scout found that if blue's even paying attention. But yeah, ideal world, you obviously control the scout yourself. But guess what? Ideal world, you'd also be able to do a million things at once, have good micro, have good game knowledge, and be, you know, much faster. So, since ideal world isn't what we all live in, sometimes just tossing it on auto scout's completely fine. It's better than not scouting, I would say. Which, I guess for the time being, red is currently doing. Supplies on the way here from blue, who may have noticed this. Like, maybe blue is aware that that's the case and wants to send some speedy infantry over. I'm guessing supplies is just being researched to, you know, because there's apples on it and it looks cool. But no, I think we're past that point, right? We're past that point where people just research supplies because of the, you know, apple a day keeps the doctor away saying. Certainly at this elo. I think at lower ranks, it's definitely a bit of a noob trap. But Celts have excellent infantry. He wants to make the infantry, and he doesn't want to pay full price. Scout's still moving around. Hawksmot, thank you for the 2 months with Prime. If I didn't already say thank you, I actually forget at this point. Sona with the 4 months, thank you, says, I remember in 2002 when I first saw this game and my dad was like, this is a war game. You can't play this. And now, 20 years later, I'm completely hooked. Thank you. You know, for me, I guess I just remember watching my brother play the game. So I don't know if I don't think my parents ever had rules against it for my brother or my family. When I really started to commit a lot of time to this game was like 2012. And that was like, ever since I've just never stopped, basically. And the rest is history. But my parents didn't have an issue with it because the graphics aren't that detailed, right? Like, there's so many games that have so much more, like, blood and guts and gore. Technically, like, you know, you are kind of killing tons of innocent villagers and pillaging villages. And there's lots of, you know, sad death noises. But we just kind of forget that that's the case because the graphics are so poor. Whereas other games, you're just like seeing a head vividly explode and pieces of his brain are stuck to the screen. You know, this game is like pretty good in comparison. My parents never really had an issue with this. What is this, Blue? Blue may be an arena player, wants to stonewall this. I don't hate it. I don't hate it. If one side is completely walled, it allows you to fight on the other side. Now, I do find this whole situation interesting for Red as well, because Red has now over-chopped. Maybe Red didn't know there was a gap there. Maybe Red just wanted to chop that line of trees because it was in the way. Red is also making man-at-arms. Both civilizations good with infantry. Red gets supplies for free. Celts just have speedy infantry. I would prefer the Celt infantry because, well, first reason is they're faster, which allows you to control them. But the second reason is the Pogo, you know, which I don't know what the Slav infantry yells exactly, but it's not as epic as Pogo. Yeah, we'll see if they ever engage against each other, right? By the time Red gets over here, there might be walls from Blue. Oh, baby. And there goes Blue. Watch Blue go here. I mean, look at what the Auto Scout has found. Oh, it's already house-walled. Ooh, okay. Okay, that's big. Auto Scout just got attacked. I wonder if Blue will look back and say, oh my goodness, there's infantry here. And Red is going to go this way as well. Blue's definitely trying to get here. And is going to see the houses. There's no hole, but Blue's going to break through that house pretty quickly. Has forging and has armor. Red is catching up with those upgrades, and Red doesn't have the numbers. Red clicked through. House goes down. Blue is going to just destroy Red here. Really good fight here for Blue. Red needs to get the rest of the army over here, wherever it is. Looks like some of them were chasing the scout. Man, Auto Scout has been a beast. Auto Scout has found the wood line. Auto Scout's distracted these two man-at-arms. They've distracted this man-at-arm. And now, I mean, I've seen players resign over less. That's crazy. I knew that this area would be a trap for Red. I knew that this would just be too easy to raid. And now he's going to run all the way over here to chop. It's not over for Red. Red only lost one villager here. But there will be a lot of emotional damage. And emotional damage isn't something that we can really quantify or show in Capture Age. But, you know, maybe next year, maybe they'll update that soon, and we'll be able to track emotional damage via Capture Age. Because I would say the emotional damage is quite high at this point. Red has to make more army to react to this, which is the perfect response. Should actually be able to win the fight soon, because the upgrades will be similar. And there will be more numbers for Red. Blue, though, will be in Castle Age faster. Which is always really good for Blue. Also, I think this villager's trapped. Yeah, she is stuck. So I'll keep you updated on her. Yeah, we gotta hook heart rate monitors up. I don't know, man. The heart rate monitors at NAC didn't seem to be very accurate. when that was, the idea was decent, but I was just looking. It was like high intensity moment in a tournament, and Leary has 40 heartbeats per minute. I'm just like, there's no way. Man, this infantry's just insane, though, isn't it? Okay, agree or disagree with this comment? Celts are an underrated civilization. What do you think? I think a lot of people just think about their lack of tech tree options, and a lot of people just think about, you know, like pro meta, and they just don't, they undervalue the wood eco and how crazy that is. And having fast units and faster firing siege is really valuable. You don't have to play it like Huang. Like, they have a really good late game, especially now that you could fully garrison Rams with the new, like, garrison change. It makes it much easier. She's still trapped, by the way. She's still stuck. Red is 48 villagers. Blue only has 33. Blue's had some crazy idle TC time compared to red. But blue is in Castle Age, and blue can get longsword and get upgrades. And so that would be a big problem here for red, who still isn't clicked up. Blue is still making more infantry. I've been loving it today, guys. We had that crazy Vikings versus Bulgarians battle earlier. Now we've got Slavs versus Celts, and it's just eco and infantry. Sick. The thing is, blue didn't make a gate here, so blue will never pass over this way, which is pretty good for red. Blue will always funnel the pressure in on this side, it seems. But there's a villager here. Is this for a one villager castle, a one villager TC, a one villager monastery, or one villager siege workshop? Okay, castle. Which tells me maybe blue won't leave this position. Blue might be scared to leave this position right now. Longsword will be in. And if blue does push it all, red would be in trouble. But if red has a little bit more time, red could get longsword as well, and red will have more of them than blue. And could always catch up with the upgrades too. Is the villager still trapped? Oh, they just chopped the tree to free her. No joke. I'm pretty sure he just finished chopping the tree. Because these villas were on stone before, right? So blue finally noticed that villager was trapped. Where did she go, though? Maybe this is her. She probably joined. That's funny. That's why I research Celts for it. That's why I pick the Celts for instances like that, so I can free my villager a bit faster. All right, 36 villagers for blue. Blue's still just maxing out. Blue doesn't have the food to produce because blue is queuing up so many longswords. And red has collected more resources. But do you think red feels as though he's like 15 vills ahead? No way. No freaking way. Red thinks he's just completely dead here. After his opponent's been in Castle Age for so long, there's no way you would feel that comfortable. Good eco, though, from red. I like that. Can you imagine if blue comes to town with arson and destroys all these houses, though? Oh, that'd be painful. Auto scout, again, getting information. At this point, I wonder if blue is doing this intentionally to get the information, which you should be trying to do. Yeah, blue actually attacking as well. That scout's not going to get the villager kill, though. It should be a dead scout. Nice job, red. And blue now has the one side walled, the other side castled. Becomes very difficult for red to counterattack right now. And having to defend is something that wears you down eventually. Blue has stopped at 36 vills. Red is also mixing in some archers. The archers will help, but just archers, just fletching, won't help that much. I think they're doing just 2 damage a hit, but here are longswords. Blue sees a lot of army. Now blue has the superior upgrades. Red has the superior numbers. Some of this fight's going to red because he's got the hill. Feels like blue's winning the fight. Red's on the hill, though. It's very close. I think if blue wins this fight, red taps out, actually. I think it's that bad, based on how this is playing out. Even up 20 villagers, I do not think red will have faith any longer. A lot of army just died, and it's just been a whole game of blue attacking. Let's see. We had some fighters today. Some people who refused to give up. So maybe I should have more faith. Well, Archer gets a kill. No, he was close. Knights, though. A couple more longswords. Red's not giving up. And red will be fine here. And red is still producing vills. Blue is just not. At least not consistently. And that's what I love about this game, man. I love how there's so many different things you have to focus on. And clearly, blue he has more upgrades. Town Bell. He has more upgrades. And not only does he have more upgrades, he has more numbers because he's focusing primarily on that instead of his eco. Red, you need a castle here, my friend. You need a castle next to the corridor of death that you chopped. You started this for yourself. Castle it. Castle it, protect it, That way blue's pressure will come directly into the castle arrow fire. That would be huge here. Blue, back to making vills, actually making woad raiders now. And is that strongholds he's getting right now? Okay, so stronghold has multiple effects now. You can heal your units around your castle, which is kind of nice if you're a micro nerd. The castles and towers also fire faster. Actually, I forget if they removed the fire faster thing. Because that was what it was for a while, and then they added the healing. I forget if it's both now. They wanted to make the stronghold actually offer more. You won't see the healing be that strong at high ranks because people just take fights and make more units. But nor do I think the faster firing castles is that helpful because they lack... Like, their castles are still weak overall compared to other civs. Oh, God. Oh, no. Oh, geez. Oh, man, Red. Oh, Red, you got to defend this. Red had the right idea, though. Red had the right idea. Get a castle in this position. The castle will complete. And now there's castle fire from Red. And he's getting detonates. So his castles... This is also another interesting unique tech. Some of the stone cost will be replaced with wood. So he could basically make tons more castles. Also, your castle will kill the rest of the units here, so that's less of a headache. Bowyars are also incredible against everything blue is making. Bowyar is an infantry killer. Will we see imp now for blue? Because there's now a castle. Blue might want trebs. The army's gone down. Blue is to decide on the next step. Blue's thinking might be to avoid this castle and use the woad raiders to go for this area, the eco. Maybe. We'll see. Red's done a great job creating vills, man. Like, the consistency with that is next level stuff. Much better than his opponent. But I like the strategic walling on the right side from blue. I like the importance of the forward position, and I like imp now coming in. And when you produce vills, you're not saving resources for imp. So we'll have a situation where red's going to be pretty deep in castle age with multiple castles and everything, more vills, etc. But we'll be up against an imperial age player. But, like, my thinking is, if red gets bloodlines and castle age armor, I think castle age bowyars should do a pretty decent job against the woads and the trebs. Also, something that's really bad for red, I think. I'm actually not 100% on this. I wish there was a way I could check. So, do you guys think this castle is seen as on the hill or at the bottom of a hill? Like, let's say blue makes a treb here. Is blue's treb doing hill damage against this castle because part of it's on the bottom of the hill? I don't know how it's seen. What it is, though, is that it's on cracked terrain, and buildings on cracked terrain take like 50% more damage or something crazy. 50% more bonus damage. So you never want to build buildings anywhere on cracked terrain because cracked terrain is incredibly unstable. Now, in like real life, you build on cracked terrain and like the foundation of the building, you just like falls down over time. Here, it just units on cracked terrain receive more damage. There is actually an exploit to remove cracked terrain. I will tell you, I don't know if they can ever fix it. I don't know if it's allowed in tournaments or not, but I'll tell you anyways. So you can build farms on top of cracked terrain and then delete them, and it removes the cracked terrain. So if you like just farm delete, farm delete, farm delete, farm delete, farm delete, you don't even need to complete the farm. It actually removes cracked terrain. Wait, someone says it's been fixed? They fixed that in the patch? Really? That's a pretty sick thing for them to adjust. That's been in the game forever. I trust Atomic Sausage. I wouldn't normally say those words in the same sentence, but I trust him. If he mentions that, that's a rather specific thing. I trust that that's maybe been fixed. So they fixed that, but quick play has been broken for 6 months? Very interesting. Well, I don't think these players would have known about it. Like we said before, Bowyar's pretty freaking strong. And blue wasn't quite prepared. And the Bowyars go out and snipe the Treb. Blue never heard me say, do not trickle Treb. You gotta wait. Wait till you've got a couple trebuchets, because your opponent will dive. Obviously, I think, at the very least, you have to at least be expecting that he's going to come try and take your trebs. And here comes blue with another one. And red's going to kill another one. But red loses all the army. So, costly losses here for red, who's just been under pressure this whole game, right? There's always so much army coming his way. I like what blue is doing. I like the thinking of continuing to just, you know, work towards the trebs and push this, but the lack of production buildings is a problem. If you need your castles to produce units and to produce trebs, you kind of have to choose between two. T90, do you think it'd be fun to have more terrain modifiers, like slow-moving units on marsh terrain, etc.? Ooh. Like certain types of terrain affect speed. As a player, I would absolutely hate that. As someone who likes to cast things where others are uncomfortable, I would love that. I mean, it's an interesting concept to explore. I think it could produce some pretty interesting scenarios, and maybe, I don't know, maybe it's good. Here we go again. One treb, and red just sends everything for that one freaking treb. Blue, imagine if you showed up with 4. He'd probably kill 2, and he'd lose his whole army too, man. This one treb at a time thing, I guess it doesn't give red too much time to react, but it hasn't made the progress he's wanted next. Now, there is Druzina now. That will add some like splash damage to any of the infantry here for Fleming, but I would have really liked to see Elite Boyar. I'm pretty sure he had to choose between the two. And now look at blue. Blue goes in trying to snipe a treb. It's blue's turn. And so trebuchet goes down. And what great consistency from blue. Treb actually stays up for blue this time. And red kind of falling apart. Woad Raiders now. They're so fast. They're so fast. And another treb gets sniped. Dang. Well played, blue. Also repairing his own treb right now. And another castle next to this. Wow, this is good. And red's in full panic mode. Red, a 35 villager lead in full panic mode. This stronghold castle, by the way, no fletching. 17 kills. Crazy stuff, right? And red, I think, does the right thing to recognize this castle is going to go down. Let's just back off for a second. Might need to plan on losing this one. My feeling is red is still in a position where he can win this game, as long as red just relaxes for a moment and builds up a force before tossing units in. You might need to give up the whole front of your base, which is an uncomfortable feeling. But waiting for some upgrades, waiting for a unit mass, and then making trebs with the back castles could be really valuable here. T90 can confirm this was in last month's patch notes. Fix an exploit where one could avoid cracked terrain bonus damage by constructing and deleting a farm. Really? That's interesting. Yeah, we actually had to address that for Hidden Cup evacuation, because it would have been very easy on evacuation to do that. That's interesting they fixed that. That's was kind of a very niche bug, but it definitely has been in the game for a long time. Boyar counterattack. That will be killed off. Red. Oh, God. He wants to drop a castle here. He doesn't know about the walls. He thinks he can just walk over there and drop it. Oh, no. Oh, no. The only way they can path is this way. And path they go into the castle, into the champs. Meanwhile, he loses his other castle. His Boyars go to kill the Trebs. It would be rather interesting if he actually completes his castle. I don't think he can. Some blue units are following, and oh, pain. It's because he does not know about that wall. And now the villagers... He's canceled it because the villagers are being slaughtered. And he must realize that there's a wall over there. He's going to drop a castle here. This is good, though. If he could pressure blue from this side, blue is not prepared to deal with that. And he's about to have Druzina champions. Druzina champions are really strong as long as he can mass them. Blue has never really had the biggest army mass. It's just the timings. He attacked with the man-at-arms before red was prepared. He attacked with long swords before red was prepared. He attacked with the trebs and castle drop before red was prepared. But the army and the eco for red, really solid. And he's catching up on upgrades. He's even getting elite Boyar. Guys, Celts do not really have an answer to everything that red is teching into. If red can afford more of this, elite Boyar and Druzina champs, Celts should have no answer. Oh, geez. That was a risky play with that castle. Red just rebuilds the TC. Red will drop a castle here next to some gold. Maybe bust a hole through in the blue's base. Blue now dropping a castle. I'm really liking red's position, but it's going to be so tough for red. How do you engage against this many castles? That's so tricky. And also counterattack and also fix your eco. Scorpions could be really good to mix in. I think you almost need some siege if you're Celts to mix in against what red is making. The issue I have with that is the lack of mobility. I wouldn't say that mobility is really a problem for him, though, here. Like, there's a lot of stuff happening right here. So maybe mixing in some Scorps in this position could be good. But this area becomes the problem. Now, red will have to manually click the wall with the castle here to break through. But it's actually going to make a few trebs. And like, what does blue do? Blue's going to have to maybe build a castle here and mass some trebs quickly. Guys, for the first time in this game, blue now has to second guess his own eco. The walls were placed so he wouldn't have to. Now blue's attention will be here for once. And red does shoot the wall so he could break through. Red's also going to make trebs. And if red's first treb immediately gets tasked on the blue's castle, blue could start to get really distracted. While also having to push. Both players have to, like, push and defend at the same time. This is crazy. But red sees it. Guys, I think red's going to be able to make this one happen with how this is flowing. Blue is going to mass some trebs from the front as well. But not a good sign for blue that when the military buildings on the front is pretty much all he's had, he now has to send things home. And red is still making villagers. The Boyars are going to be through. We have the town bell. Panic. These villagers don't even know what war is, right? They've read about it in the history books. They didn't know it actually happens, you know? They've been so far from conflict this whole game. I respect it, though. They are fighting back, but castle will fall here. Villagers are falling. TCs aren't doing anything against the Boyars. And now blue has to push. Like, this is looking bad. Like we saw earlier, guys, if it's looking bad, you just, instead of trying to stabilize too much, I think you've just got to push. Also, this kind of looks like a community game thing. That tower with the vills inside, it's like a king would be there in a community game. Castle falls for blue. Castle falls. There it goes. Over here now. Blue will start to push. Champions and trebs. Now, I don't know if at this elo, but at a certain point, you've got to expect that after you've, done that much damage and harassed blue, that blue's going to come this way, and red is completely evacuating. This is chaos. And that's red's farm eco right there. Like, red will really have to work hard to reseed that many farms. The strongholds tech on these castles have led to a lot of kills and protecting the trebs. And now, blue is also evacuating. Both players evacuating their starting economies. Who is this better for right now? I think red is more villagers alive. And red is... I guess he's got less to destroy in blue's base. Blue has very little resistance compared to what red has. But now blue comes forward with another castle. What in the world? And here are the vills. These vills need to join. But 45 population for blue, guys. And it's not like blue is sitting on a ton of resources either. The Boyars have 10 melee armor, so they're receiving very little damage from the woads. They have 130 HP. That's no bloodlines, actually. And they've got 18 attack. Boyar is just the perfect unit against Celts. I would say maybe if Celts go for Halbs, it gets tricky, though. Certainly against World Raiders and Champions, Bowyars are awesome. Blue is gonna steal the farms! Quick, Red, delete your farms! Delete them! Delete! Don't let him steal your eco! Farm stealing! TC, uh-oh. TC goes up. Villagers are safe for now. What in the world? Red should do that, honestly. Red should bring some vills and build a mill right here. Steal the farms. This is chaos. What I think gives Blue a chance is the fact that he could still build castles. Like, if he can keep building castles next to his push, it gives him an opportunity. But these vills will all die. He's losing houses. He doesn't have a base anymore. And Red's still producing Bowyars. And if Blue loses these Trebs, he won't be able to make many more of them. I think Red can kill them too. Yep, this might be the end. Imagine losing your starting base and still winning the game. That's not going to be the case for Blue. I think that's going to be the case for Red. He had to completely abandon his starting eco. And he's still in a decent spot. And now he says, all right, we've taken out his eco. We bring all of our army home. It's time to put a stop to this crap. And it is 18 pop for Blue. Wow. He fell off so hard with pop. I mean, he never had as much. But to be at 18 pop right now compared to 134 from Red is sick. Here's the market now. There's no food income for Blue. I love how Red brought the villager forward. She's like, no, get out of my economy. These are my farms. These villagers don't give a crap. They're going to die. Red's main army's coming back. Guys, I just love how Red always, like, throughout this whole game, even if things looked bad, he's like, I will remain consistent with vills. I will keep expanding and doing stuff. Blue is a little tunnel vision this game. And the tunnel vision helped for a while. Until Red was able to make some magic happen on this side. This side castle was just so sick. And the fact that he lost 20 villagers trying to build the initial castle too is wild. Still in this position. Is this actually 700 elo? Crazy, man. 700 elo is insane. Also, I noticed some fight at 700 elo. Like, these people have had some experiences to have fight. Earlier today, for those that missed it, it will probably have already hit YouTube by the time this one goes up. We had a crazy Gold Rush game. I don't know what the title's going to be. No clue on what that's going to be, but we had another game where, you know, there was just grit and determination. More Trebs on the way here from Red. And yeah, I mean, you can try and add a few farms here if you're Blue. Try and get your economy back in shape, but I don't know about this one, man. Also not too sure about Red's current Treb position. That could be considered a bit of a problem. Unless, of course, the castle goes down. Someone is wondering what is in the south. I didn't notice these two. Well, hey, he's been injured due to all the conflict, and she's like tried to convince him to escape. She said, but Gary, can't we just leave this place and go somewhere together? And he's like, sure, where do you want to go? She says, follow me. And now they're just, oh, God. Oh no. Oh, shoot. Oh, this is going to be a horrible ending. Okay, we got to look away. That croc hasn't eaten in years. Okay, well, 30 pop for Blue. Red is really looking around for where Blue could be at the moment. And has to know that Blue is just here. Just here. Oh, God. Oh, God. The croc is attacking. Gary, save her, you coward. What are you doing? What are you doing? Letting her die like that. Well, like they always say, you got to be able to outrun. You don't have to outrun the crocodile. You just have to outrun the slowest person. So. Oh, wait. Oh, they're working together. Wow. Is blue actually paying attention to this? Wait, there's another. There's another one. Honestly, with how this is playing out, it wouldn't surprise me if blue plays on until he's defeated. Because this is not looking good. If there was a time to GG, maybe this would be it. After you lose all of this. Red has played so well, and wow! GG's in chat. What a performance from Fleming there. I mean, there's just so many things that happened which could have made Red feel like this game was over, right? It was the early attacks and the early pushes from blue in every single age. And Red just kept kicking. And what we knew, and obviously blue didn't know, and Red didn't even know as well, is that the economy for Red was the key. Red did a better job creating villagers. Red did a better job expanding. But blue also had a sick game pushing. And if you were to say, well, T90, what do you suggest to blue? Because blue did pretty good here. You just need a bit more eco. And if at any point you're pushing like this and you slow down and you stop, it gives players an opportunity to be creative. And if you go back to when Red decided to do that, now I think it was some desperation, right? But when Red thinks this is the time, basically, well, I mean, Red was... honestly, I take it back. Blue didn't really slow down. It was just Red realizing he needed something different. I take it back. I was going to say, well, blue wasn't really advancing. That's not true. Blue is actually very much advancing. And, you know, Red still said, well, if I go to his base, maybe he won't have anything. Maybe that changes the game. And it did. Like, blue had no army, no military around, and it did not take very long for Red to make things happen there. So, that's good stuff. Very good stuff from both players. Lots to learn from there. I could see why they're the same rank, because there's probably lots of situations where Red gets overrun with the early rushes and the eco doesn't pay off. And there's probably lots of situations where blue, you know, wins games because of the early rushes and then loses games because he didn't quite get the damage in and the eco from the opponent pays off. Also, Boyars and Drazina champions. I mean, not really much I can suggest the Celts do against that, except maybe lots of siege, which is pretty costly. So, yeah, well played. That was a good Lowy the Legends battle. And 700 elo these days. Sheesh, man. Like, I gotta say, I'm gonna make a video on this at some point. I wonder if there's a tweak that can be made to how the starting of ranked starts in Age of Empires 2 DE. Because the starting point is 1,000 elo. Now, you have 10 placement games. They don't make it that obvious. You have to play 10 placement games, but that's how it works, right? So after those 10 games, you're supposed to have be at a good spot. But, you know, I wouldn't want to jump in against these guys if I was new, and these guys are 700, right? So I wonder if they could, change that starting spot. Sure, you lose a couple games, but your first couple people you're playing up against are, maybe 600 or 700 elo players. Because this is an experience. These guys are really good. But I'll make a separate video about that at some point, I think.